NTA International News.
Walter Onogen gets nod of Senate as Nigeria's Chief Justice. United Nations scores Nigeria high in domesticating sustainable development goals. Amina Mohammed takes oath as United Nations Deputy Secretary General. Hello there, good to have you join us on the news on NTA International. I am Shegun Lawale. The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control and Standards Organization of Nigeria, as well as other regulatory agencies, are now to be rated by the number of people and businesses they are able to support to achieve public goals. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo stated this at a meeting in Abuja, stressed that the role of regulatory agencies is to act as a catalyst of change. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo during the meeting with the Abia State Governor Okeze Ikpeazu, medium and small-scale business stakeholders from the state and some federal government regulatory agencies emphasized the need for regulatory agencies to take responsibility for facilitating businesses in the country. The acting president had visited Aba to flag off the presidency's MSMEs clinics, where medium and small-scale businesses are brought together in one spot with federal government regulatory agencies they interface with. The meeting was attended by the Industry, Trade and Investment Minister, Dr. Oke Enenama, and the Minister of State in the ministry, Mrs. Aisha Abubakar.
And the outcome is very, very straightforward and gladdening that the regulatory agencies are committed now to specific dates or time frame within which small businesses can register and get their certifications for their products. And we've received additional advice on what we need to do as government in Abia State to create environment for federal government to step in to help us acquire equipment and machinery to drive the automation of our products going forward.
About this is a commitment of working with them to get them to get the solutions they need from government or the services they need from government speedily, transparently, and readily. And I must say that I commend the agencies and their leadership. I commend the governor and also his colleagues from other states who have shown a continuing commitment to SMEs.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Senate has confirmed Justice Walter Onogen as the Chief Justice of Nigeria after he was screened by the Apex Legislative Chamber Tuesday afternoon. Justice Onogen has been in acting capacity since he was appointed by President Buhari last year. His name was forwarded for confirmation by the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, at the expiration of his acting tenure last month. The importance of the youth in national development has again been emphasized, especially being the most productive group of the society. As such, financial planning of any country, especially budgeting, must be wholly inclusive, with the youth given priority attention. This came to the fore at the debate on the 2017 budget, jointly organized by the National Youth Parliament and the Senate. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The youth are the future of the country.
The imperative of the realities of today, especially in the legislature, which is a crucial aspect of democracy and quintessential to the process of budget making, underscores the need to use the youth parliament in mentoring the younger generation that will be leaders of tomorrow, and through which they will receive the most desired tutelage in governance. This formed the crux of the matter in the message of the President of the Senate to the Youth Parliament.
Some of you will be senators, some of you will be speaker, members of the House of Reps, some of you will be Senate presidents. We're trying to create a nation where it is possible for every Nigerian to believe that everything is possible for him and for her.
In line with this guiding principle of the Senate President, the Speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament speaks on the effectiveness of the budgetary system, implementation, and the importance of youth inclusion and participation in all aspects of national development.
The greatest investment a nation can make is to secure our future in the investment on our children and youth.
Some inspirational goodwill messages came from famous footballer come coach Samson Siasia and others.
We need to give back to the youth. We
Without the youth, we'll be all dead.
We are calling on all great youths of this beloved country, Nigeria, to stand out and to stand forward with more great programs.
If you are a dreamer, I expect you to put your dreams into action.
Some weeks ago was the national public hearing on the 2017 appropriation bill. This time around, it is the turn of the youths who have converged here at the same venue to critically examine their role and inclusion in the 2017 Appropriation Act, a trend which organizers say will be an annual event. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
The United Nations has described Nigeria as a leader in domesticating the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. At a conference organized by the United Nations Institute for Training and the Ministry of Budget and Planning, UN Assistant Secretary General said Nigeria has kept the momentum of the SDGs alive. Claire Adilabu Abdurazak reports.
With 17 goals and 169 targets and hundreds of indicators, the Sustainable Development Goals were thought to be the most ambitious development instrument ever. As governments start domesticating the instrument at country level, there is high demand for new processes and innovative solutions to achieve target. This UNITA Learning Conference provides a platform for practical knowledge sharing for least developed countries, LDCs, in Africa. Minister of State for Budget and Planning said Nigeria is integrating its National Development Plan to align with Vision 2020 and the SDGs.
The result of the work we have done is a new plan that we call the Nigerian Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, NERG, which will be launched by the President in this month of March.
Some participating countries share their areas of great need.
Data is our area of challenge. We need really evidence-based planning.
United Nations Assistant Secretary General and Executive Director UNITA list 4 priority areas for implementing countries.
In addition, the SDGs have a very important role for policy coherence between different kinds of policies, between poverty and water and hunger and health.
Mr. Seth commended Nigeria's leadership role in domesticating the SDGs process so far.
Nigeria has been a leader in the area of the SDGs, and they're doing a lot politically and keeping the momentum for the SDGs alive in this country.
This meeting is a very important one, and we hope that after it, the nations that are represented here will go back to find ways of replicating it at the national level.
17 African nations from least developed countries, LDCs, are participating in the conference. In Abuja, Claire Adilabu Abdurazak, NTA News.
The federal government has continued to demonstrate its resolve to complete ongoing projects in the water resources sector with visits to dam projects and irrigation facilities. The latest is a team led by Minister of Water Resources to such sites in Enugu State. Musba Danwahab reports.
The slogan by the Water Resources Minister is, if they are intended to uplift standard of living, provide employment and boost the economy, then all ongoing projects must be completed and fast too. Walking the talk, the first port of call by the Minister, Suleiman Adamu, is Ivo River in Enugu State, where a multi-purpose dam that commenced in 2010 is still uncompleted. Located in Umpu village, sharing boundaries with Ebonyi State, Ivo Dam has irrigation facility, water treatment plants, and hydropower components. The land for irrigation is being prepared and the spillway under construction, but the minister, after inspecting the project, decried the project design and pace of work.
Priority to us is that this project must be finished and must be beneficial to the people. By God's grace, it will be finished as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, the people of Umpu village have been experiencing consequences of the non-completion of a project with their farmlands and homes swept off by flood. The Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State, Kelechi Igwe, was the voice of the victims, appealing to the federal government for palliative measures.
From the Ebonyi axis, over 10,000 hectares of land, rice farmland, was submerged by the flood that took place last year when they were trying to discharge the water from this dam. Early warnings, if your land is going to be inundated, is going to be flooded, you have a right to be paid compensation for your land. So that will be done but you have to bear with us.
The minister also visited Adada River Dam project, which commenced 2011 but is only 50% complete. It is to supply water to Nsukka and its environs. The team was also at the Lower Anambra irrigation project, which has suffered setbacks in supporting irrigation in the area. Musbal and Wahab, NT News.
And on some security matters, the Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Rabo, says the military is still firmly in control of the northeast, with frantic efforts to continue to dislodge terrorists. The theatre commander stated this at the monthly media briefing in Maiduguri, Borno State. He said the military has continued to clear the remnants of Boko Haram terrorists, with arrests, recoveries of arms and ammunition, as well as interception of suicide bombers.
During the trying days of this operation, Amnesty International and other agents working against our nationhood tried tirelessly to incite the populace against the military through various malicious publications. In spite of their distractions, we forged ahead and decimated the Boko Haram terrorists. We worked assiduously to improve on our civil-military relations, the result of which, of course, is very manifest in the unparalleled support, accolades, and encouragement that we have been receiving from the populace.
Commander Operation Lafia Dole attributed the successes recorded to the gallantry of officers and soldiers, as well as cooperation of civilians, and therefore appealed to citizens not to hesitate to report suspected persons to law enforcement agents. He said though the military recorded few losses, the strongholds of Boko Haram terrorists remain dismantled. Nigeria's maritime environment has received a boost with the inauguration of the Falcon Eye Eastern Regional Control Center, aimed at ensuring effective maritime surveillance in tackling piracy and other criminal activities along the nation's waterways. National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Munguno, who inaugurated the center at the Eastern Naval Command, Calabar, said the system would give Nigeria total coverage of her maritime surface. Umo Basi Edit has details.
Falcon Eye, a maritime surveillance center, consists of an effective integrated surveillance, monitoring, and the provision of controlled solutions through the use of electro-optic systems in tackling emerging threats along the waterways. Stakeholders say the project is an indication of government's resolve to complete the maritime environment protection infrastructure, as well as adequately equip the Nigerian Navy's capability for maritime operations.
I wish to encourage the Nigerian Navy to see the commissioning of this maritime surveillance infrastructure as part of the renewed efforts of the government to adequately arm and equip it to fight crimes in our maritime space.
Once we're able to detect timely enough, we'll then be able to dispatch interceptors and response vessels, to take care of such maritime threats.
Governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, lauded the federal government's initiative at tackling maritime crimes, but stressed the need for the state to be integrated into the amnesty program as a means of providing an alternative platform for the youths.
I therefore plead that there should be haste in ensuring that Cross River State is integrated into the amnesty program. If government provides a platform where most of these people will have an alternative, I am sure they will turn away from criminality.
Consultant handling the project, Gerard Levy, says with Falcon Eye, crude oil theft, poaching, piracy, sea robbery, and other crimes would be easily detected. In Calabar, Umo Basidate, NTA News.
The well-being of physically challenged children through provision of special education and other rudiments is said to be the only way to give them a sense of belonging. This was echoed by the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, the POA, during a visit and donation to the Abuja Handicapped School in Kuje Area Council. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
Some of the items donated by the POA include assorted bags of grains and toiletries, among other items. President of the POA, Mrs. Omobolanle Oloni Shakin said the association is poised to deliver on its mandate of helping the needy in the society. She expressed satisfaction with the mental improvement of the pupils and enjoined the school management to intensify effort.
A little love, a little support, and kindness go a long way to make a huge difference.
Head teacher of the school, Victoria Aga, thanked the association for the gesture and appealed for more assistance from other organizations.
My appeal to the government is that they should give us, mostly the supportive teachers, those people that take care of them in the hostel, because some of them cannot feed by themselves, they give them food and they cannot bath.
Some of the pupils also share in the joy of the moment.
I have a dream to be a politician. I see all the things you have done. May God bless you and reward you. May the Lord reward you more and more and more.
The Abuja Handicap School, established in May 1999, has so far graduated over 200 pupils who are presently in various higher institutions of learning, improving their capacity. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
This is NTA International News from Nigeria's capital city of Abuja. The news will continue in just a moment after the break. Thanks for joining us. Research has shown that terrorist attacks, communal clashes and other forms of violence leave in its trail symptoms associated with anxiety, stress and even post-traumatic stress disorder. Adebola Brooksley Sunday in this report takes a look at psychotrauma system in managing trauma.
It was very terrible. I saw death face to face. It was God that saved me.
Ladi Matthias described as painful her one-on-one encounter with Boko Haram and how she is lucky to tell the story. This broken heart sometimes gives birth to panic and anxiety, as well as hunger, resentment, and blame.
Formerly, we were getting food and support every day, but now the traffic has reduced.
Trauma, analysts say, is a fact of life, but does not, however, have to be a life sentence.
To influence society.
Caregivers trained in psychotrauma are some of the strategies employed to help people like Ladi Matthias pick back the pieces of their lives.
So you become like an orange where, however you are squeezed, it's the best of humanity that comes, and we work to becoming better.
Sometimes when pain is not physical and you don't see it, you seem to undermine the person's agony.
And to help them feel comfortable to express their feelings and what their hurts.
In the context of the Nigerian government, is enough being done to help these traumatized people in spite of the various donations of food, clothing, and other items?
The mere thinking of some of these problems they went through make them very sad. So I think the center spot for trauma healing should be the Northeast, especially Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa.
We are taking it seriously because traumatized people become a further burden on society.
Although the Nigerian government prides itself of doing its best to end insurgency and other clashes in the country, but in all, people say the greatest healing is the show of love and friendship. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The role of the media in the anti-human trafficking campaign is critical at providing incredible platforms for young persons to know the horror that are with them in foreign lands. This was the view expressed at the inauguration of Anti-Human Trafficking Ambassadors organized by Development Center for Africa Development, a non-governmental organization held in Abuja. Fatima Aliu reports.
Statistics from the Global Slavery Index indicates that human trafficking is the second largest crime industry behind the drug trade and counterfeiting, raking in a whopping $32 billion annually. With expectation of 27 million victims worldwide, 80% of the victims are between the age of 6 and 24. To nip this ugly trend in the bud, Global Development Center, a non-governmental organization, has joined the crusade to support anti-human trafficking with the inauguration of its ambassadors selected from various fields of endeavor who have made their marks in society.
It's a privilege when you're given the opportunity to serve your society. So I joined the fight both legally and otherwise in bringing every trafficker to justice.
It's something that affects all of us, and we all need to be involved to eradicate human trafficking.
Now, as an anti-human trafficking ambassador, I can go out there and I can say things. It gives me a voice for the voiceless.
The Director General, NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, represented by Executive Director Programs, expressed the commitment of the organization to the noble cause.
Let me also encourage you to take advantage of our many products on NTA and our multiple platforms to push the issues to the front burner. With over 100 stations nationwide, NTA is primed to spread the word faster than any other media in the country.
Executive Director, Development Center for African Development, urged the ambassadors to adopt the cause of the anti-crusade as a corporate social responsibility. In Abuja, Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
And now to agriculture. Attaining self-sufficiency in food supply and boosting revenue generation through agriculture are parts of the priorities of the federal government. However, agriculturists are of the view that this could only be achieved with effective and efficient extension services and good agricultural practices. In this report, agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliu takes a look at the agricultural extension services in Nigeria and their roles in agricultural development.
Extension workers, according to agriculturists, were behind the development of agriculture in Nigeria before and after the independence of the country. Extension workers were deployed to offer expert advice to farmers towards the improvement of production and processing of farm produce, as well as enable flow of information and transfer of knowledge among the farmers. World Bank standard is one extension worker to 800 to 1,000 farmers. But the ratio today, according to our investigation, is one extension worker to over 3,000 farmers.
Most of the extension agents are retiring or have retired. Some are dying. The issue of new employment and the issue of replacement is not there.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Adu Ogbe, says the government identified the role of extension workers and therefore efforts are underway to establish extension service in each of the local government area nationwide.
There you can teach them things, give them resources, have harvesters, tractors to hire, and processing and what have you. And then we can achieve what the Europeans call traceability. Where is this crop from? What fertilizer was used? What chemical was applied?
Nasarawa, Kebbi, Katsina, and Kano state governors are also giving priority to extension services.
This, to me, would be taken to the highest level to ensure that every community in Nasarawa state benefits from the activities of extension services. This will go a long way in increasing production, protecting their yield against diseases, against other things.
With modern extension means we're having zonal extension centers. IR is one of the centers where we are going to be communicating through telephones, through internet and what have you with farmers directly.
Apart from recruiting more extension workers, agriculture economists are advocating adoption of indigenous technology that is friendly to the environment in farming activities. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Nigeria's Amina Mohammed, the immediate past Minister of Environment, has been officially sworn in as Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations at the headquarters in New York. She took her oath of office from the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, who appointed her as his deputy in December last year. Amina Mohammed says her responsibility at the United Nations will be to focus primarily on helping the UN Secretary General to reposition sustainable development as the head of the organization. For latest in the financial sector, here is Chukulamto Uwabweze.
We begin from South Africa, where residents in Johannesburg are demanding that the South African government relocate them to safer areas. This comes as emergency workers continue to rescue a 5-year-old boy who fell into a disused mineshaft. Protesters have staged angry protests, blocking roads with burning tires and rubble. And U.S. President Donald Trump says the U.S. is witnessing a renewal of the American spirit as it delivers his first speech to Congress. Trump, who spoke of a new chapter of the American greatness,